See, normally we'd cover bacteria first, but I know what y'all clicked on this video for, so I'll go straight to viruses. The absolute menaces to society. And that's not even an overstatement, because how are you going to tell me a particle, yeah? Not even a microorganism. A particle has the ability to bring society to its knees. But listen, that ain't even the most menacing part. These breadcrumbs aren't even considered living things. They're quote-unquote on the boundary between living and non-living. Because for real, after seeing what these guys did to us humans after COVID-19, how isn't your immediate reaction,
man, what did he do to make them that mad?
Well, I'll tell you the answer. I bet we didn't do anything to these particles, and they're just built like that. Take a look at the structure too. It consists of a DNA or RNA molecule surrounded by a protein coat. Since these particles have no membrane-bound organelles and are technically not living things, they wreak havoc by invading a living cell. Their DNA/RNA, which by the way contains all their genetic material, takes over the protein synthesizing machinery of their host cell to replicate and make new virus particles, practically just snowballing their replication like, okay, chill bro, we get it. We get the point you're trying to make. Particles is so appropriate too, because they're about 20 to 300 nanometers in size, which is still 50 times smaller than bacteria, by the way. Their protein coat is called a capsid, and each protein molecule making up the capsid is called a capsomere. They're not all built the same though. Some of them take the menacidal personally and have an extra outer envelope made of phospholipids. They out here infecting people with disease and still buy extra shields? I give up, man. I'm gonna move on from these guys. Assalamu alaikum guys, my name's Kipo, and I'm here to make sure none of my A-level biology homies get bad grades. And if that's your goal too, welcome on board. Next we got... Wait, what? Oh, there we go. At least antibiotics exist to help us fight against bacteria. Remember when we said there are two types of cells, prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Yeah, bacteria fall under prokaryotes along with archaea, but don't worry mate, you only need to know bacteria in detail. They're a group of single-celled/unicellular prokaryotic organisms which can possess characteristics that distinguish them from other prokaryotes, such as the previously mentioned archaea. Can't 100% back this claim up as a Muslim, but for the sake of your exams, contrary to popular belief, Queen Elizabeth isn't the first living organism on Earth. It's actually believed to be bacteria. These guys average like 1 to 5 micrometers in diameter, which is understandable. I do like their transparency though. Their DNA/RNA ain't in any double membrane nucleus. Nah, they clearly have nothing to hide. A deeper dive into their structures though, and we can see that there are some structures that are always present and some that are sometimes present. Bet you're more familiar with the structures that are present though, so let's just quickly go over those. We know that they have a CSM, smaller 70S ribosomes, as we mentioned before, and a cytoplasm with no membrane-bound organelles. Cool. They contain a cell wall like plant cells, which help protect the cell and prevent it from exploding if too much water enters the cell by osmosis. The only difference is it's made of peptidoglycan and not cellulose. Lastly, the region called the nucleoid contains the bacteria's circular DNA with other proteins and small amount of RNA. It pretty much contains all or most of the genetic material of the bacteria. And yes, there may be more than one copy of the main DNA molecule in the bacteria cell. Actually, you're all completely unfamiliar with these structures that are sometimes present. For example, the flagella. There are a few differences between the eukaryotic and bacterial flagella though. For example, the bacterial flagella are more rigid, so they don't bend. They rotate at the base, causing the bacteria to move in a corkscrew-shaped motion, as you can see here. The structure is much simpler too, and more than one can be present to help this guy move in its environment. Another additional structure bacteria can possess are the CSM infoldings. These kind of just increase surface area so certain chemical reactions can take place. Blue-green bacteria, for instance, stack their infoldings with photosynthetic pigments to carry out photosynthesis, while others use it for nitrogen fixation. I know very well you're questioning what nitrogen fixation is right now. So our atmosphere contains a lot of nitrogen, right? But you know that? Well, unfortunately, it's unreactive for most animals and plants to break down. So these microbes fix it, aka convert it to more reactive nitrogen-containing compounds, such as ammonia, which plants can make use of. If you're interested, by all means, go look it up, but you don't need it like that in your syllabus, so I'm not here to explain that. I can explain the capsule though. It's almost the equivalent of extra shields in games. It's an extra outer layer in the form of an easily washed off slime layer, or a definite structured capsule made of polysaccharides. Like all shields, they not only protect it from antibiotics and phagocytosis, but they also prevent the bacteria from growing up. Speaking of antibiotics, the capsule really out here looking like a pill. Anyways, the plasmid is the overlooked structures. Yes, I know they're small and separate from the main DNA, but their function makes them heavily underrated. How are you going to contain antibiotic resistance genes and just be left on the sidelines like that? They don't even have any protein association, hence the name naked DNA given to them. Pretty impressive they can copy themselves independently of the main chromosomal DNA, but what treatment do they get as a result? They're passed on between bacteria to give each other the resistance genes. Just saying though, if I were the plasmids,
Personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
just like this last structure ain't gonna slide past us. The pili singular pillars are the fine rods you find on your bacteria, used to attach and interact with other cells and surfaces. An example of this is conjugation, the transfer of genetic information such as plasmids between the bacteria by direct contact. 1 to several hundreds can be present on a cell and yeah, that too. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes down, we can finally talk about what differentiates them. Wait, I'm feeling you're about to log off, so let me just... Prokaryotic DNA is circular and free in the cytoplasm, while eukaryotic DNA is not circular nor free in the cytoplasm, but in fact in the nucleus surrounded by a double membrane. Larger ATS ribosomes in eukaryotes and smaller SMTS in prokaryotes. But remember, again, chloroplast and the mitochondria contain smaller SMTS ribosomes too. Which ties into the next point. These eukaryotes collecting organelles like infinity stones, man. No membrane, single membrane, double membrane bound organelles, they got them all. The mesquite prokaryotes, though, only got a few organelles and none of them are membrane bound. They don't got much, clearly been to the trenches, man. Pity them. Both surprisingly contain cell walls. The catch, though, is that they're not made of the same material. Only some eukaryotes contain cell walls. Plants have theirs made of cellulose, while fungi have theirs made of chitin. Prokaryotic cell walls are made of peptidoglycan. Kind of a cold name, I'll give them that. But you're somewhat familiar with mitosis and meiosis, because that's how eukaryotes replicate. Prokaryotes, on the other hand, split by binary fission. Like, okay bro, we get it. You're trying to be different, but you're not him. These are the whack comparisons / differences that are less likely to get you marks, but let's just quickly run through them for knowledge. Nitrogen fixation, yes for some prokaryotes, no eukaryotes. Diameters, eukaryotes are larger, up to 40 micrometers. Prokaryotes are much smaller, are around 1 to 5. Prokaryotes thought to be the first living organisms on Earth again, so they're thought to have evolved much earlier, at 3.5 billion years ago, compared to eukaryotes at 1.5 billion. Thanks to today's sponsor, I'm not there yet, but I'd like to be, so if you're loving the content, please support the channel in any way, and because that's the end of the video. By the way, do you also like this shorter form video or the longer ones I previously uploaded? I need to know for future reference, of course. Whatever changes you want to suggest to the channel, just drop them below in the comments. I'll take into consideration, because of course it's to help improve my videos for you guys. As always, Bayou's the best science no debate. Peace and assalamu alaikum.